really quickly, I want to give a number of thank yous. The first of which goes out to Alison and Chelsea and the wonderful staff here at Dave & Buster's. They have helped make this a very easy process for setup and takedown, so huge thankful moment for them. Likewise, I'd like to thank each and every single one of you for making it out to this lovely occasion. I really do appreciate you guys coming here. Hand of applause for all of y'all. Likewise, extra special thank you to all the different friends and family that have helped with this, and an extra large thank you to Katie Johnson, or the artist formerly known as Katie Harrington, who helped chase down not just myself, but other people to make sure that we followed up with everybody that we intend to. So shout out to you. Now, I'd like to get started with a big mushy speech about everything, but first, let me take a selfie.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Everybody say cheese.
Cheese.
Thought it'd be a good idea for celebrating and capturing the moment. Now, for those that remember, the last time that I took a selfie like that would have been for the valedictorian speech way back in 2014 at graduation. It would have been on a Galaxy S5. This one's a Galaxy S21. And just so you know, they skipped a few numbers. We're not that old yet. That said, with the improvement of technology, I do hope that it's a little bit less blurry than the last time. Now, getting this whole event together, I spent a lot of time looking back, going through old videos, old photos, and it's funny how much you can forget and yet things become just that much clearer. Take senior year, for example. In hindsight, it was full of many, many great, memorable moments, but for me, living through it, senior year was paradoxically one of the hardest and loneliest times of my life. Now, thankfully, I had an incredibly inspirational community to lean on. For example, at graduation, we had Allie's dad, Mr. Timpson, deliver the commencement speech. At graduation, he praised us for our accomplishments as a community. He shared in his pride in our achievements, his fulfillment watching us grow, and astoundment at what slobs we were in the senior lounge. But most importantly, he talked about the moments. He asked our class if we would remember graduation, the sights, the smells, if we would savor the moments that we had in sports, arts, activities, lessons, getting the giant tire up the stairs. All of these incredible and powerful and hilarious moments that we've had as a community. And he asked us at that time, how would we remember these moments? Would we? If we do, would it be through a screen or a recording? And it's funny because it's been 10 years and he's still calling me out because I completely forgot all of those great details of his speech until I went back and rewatched it. And I think that's why his lesson about moments hit so much harder. He talked bluntly and vulnerably about three moments in particular that we'll face in life. Number one, moments of uncertainty. Number two, moments of despair and failure. And number three, moments of happiness and joy. As I went back through, there was something that I kept spotting, this common thread that kept going through, and I want to share it with you through the lens of these moments that Mr. Winston talked about. Number one is for moments of uncertainty. Now, as I started getting a playlist together for today, I started with top hits from the May of 2014, and Justin Timberlake had a song called Not a Bad Thing that hit the charts. It's catchy, it's chill, it's upbeat, it's not too crazy, a little low-key. Do you know the name of the album for Not a Bad Thing? The 2020 Experience. I lost it when I found that out. Time is a flat circle. My God, in hindsight, we couldn't have been more off. I would say that 2020, as an experience, was wrought with uncertainty. We didn't know how long lockdowns might be. We didn't know how contagious or not COVID might be. It was something that we didn't know how we would work, how we commute, how we play, how we interact with one another. It felt chaotic. Yet, 2020 was the year my little sister, Breonna, turned 21. And here's how she looked after, as one might expect for her 21st birthday. 2020 was the year that my youngest sister, Taylor, graduated from JA. And as you might expect, we came together and celebrated as a community. 2020 was also the year that my family got really into board games, which we did not expect at all. What the heck? They got into Catan more than I did with DU and nerds in D&D club. Likewise, it was a moment where I got to reconnect with a lot of really good friends and family from dance, from high school, from college. And that was something that I also did not expect. It may have been an uncertain time, but it was that uncertainty that seemed to connect us in such unique and interesting ways. So, when uncertainty comes, take initiative, take the plunge, take the chance. Because uncertainty paves the way to new traditions and to try things with community, or to form new communities with people through shared circumstance. Next are moments of failure and despair. There's two in particular moments that bookended high school for me with very, very different lessons. In freshman year, I was close with my grandpa David. He was fun. He'd put people's couches on the rooftops as a prank. He would dare you to eat worms for $1. At one of my birthdays, Connor Batman took a disposable camera, turned it into a taser, and my grandpa walked up to him and said, "Hey, zap my tongue." He was an incredibly fun and hilarious character, and full of great, memorable moments. In freshman year, after school on what seemed like any old Thursday, I got ready for dance class. I was done with class from school for the day. That Thursday was March 24th, 2011. He shot himself. My parents visit him in the hospital. I get to say goodbyes over the phone that night. My mind dances for weeks, torn to pieces, and I ask myself again and again questions like, what if I saw him one more time? What if I got him to go on one more adventure? If he had waited just one more day, would it have been enough? And then I get to school. I spend time with friends. They ask how I'm doing, if I'm okay. We talk about games. We laugh about memes. We stress about homework. We share moments. I go to the dance studio. We practice technique, rehearse choreography. We burst out into song. We bond over activities. We share moments. Since then, we've had a lot more losses. Some are far more recent than others. And yet, the vicious cycle of loss and despair when life throws its hardest challenges your way, in my experience, it seems to melt away with community. The next moment is late senior year. I was stretched a little too thin. I don't know if anyone else might have felt the same. And I isolated. I fell into a really deep depression. My grades seemed to slip. I wasted time, getting rejected again and again for insert scholarship or the colleges I was looking at. I isolate even further, like my grandpa before me, and I thought about taking my own life at that time. Coincidentally, one of the hardest nights like my grandpa before me, was a Thursday in March. And what made it different this time, however, was a late night message. I sent out one word, help. And it didn't fall on deaf ears. Friends had noticed that something was off, and they jumped into action. One visited, and we talked into the early hours of the morning. The other one contacted our counselor, Ms. Malott, and the next day after a test and A block, I went down to the office. I expected a quick chat, and I'd be right back into the throes of life. I spent the rest of that day and the rest of senior year spring break in a mental hospital. Some people knew, some people visited, some had no clue. And the months that followed were a slow, grueling climb back up. It was so interesting how I felt like for all of high school, I was unstoppable. I was part of this larger, grand thing of existence. I figured it out, and I tripped just short of the finish line. But to put it bluntly, this community saved my life. At that moment, it was a dark time for me, and yet for all the moments that I felt like a failure, looking back, there was so much about senior year that was great. We may have all had our different struggles and challenges and failures at the time, and yet all of those seemed to diminish as we shared our struggles and our hopes for the future. And looking back, I might remember some of the pain of that senior year, but I find it so much easier to find all of these great memories, obvious and subtle, that I wouldn't trade the world for. So, when faced with failure, it was only when I shared time with others, moments with others, that I could learn the lesson of healing and move forward. So, in your deepest despairs, the loss of loved ones, the toughest challenges, the goals that seem just out of reach, lean on your community for support, strength, guidance to transform the sours of life into bittersweets, the shortcomings into lessons. And that brings us to today. Moments of happiness and joy. We are here today for these moments. We celebrate our community, these lasting bonds that brought us all together, that tie us together, to share in joys we've experienced, the excitement of the future, and we've continued to expand our community through family, through children, through deepened friendships. These milestones remind us of the beauty and strength of connections and are testaments to the enduring spirit that we share together. Aside from a great night tonight, my biggest hope is we take away the power of community. We grew up in a time of miraculous innovation. The internet, smartphones, social media, everything changed so rapidly that we became some of the first pioneers and explorers of an era. And I don't know how many people can say that they got to do remote work in high school before anybody else, with all of the digital day crap that we had to put up with. So, 10 years ago, selfies were some revolutionary thing, but as I went through this whole nostalgia binge, the thing that made me smile wasn't selfies that I took. It was the photos with other people, of other people, from other people. And that's how I wanted to remember this moment, and the selfie from the start of the speech. As we head into the next 10 years, we're gonna face great uncertainty. With AI, algorithms, the internet that once brought everybody together in this one monolithic culture seems to be splitting apart. It's more individualized, it's more personalized, it's more tailored to our exact tastes. I think one of the great challenges that we're gonna face is of values and beliefs. It's easier now than ever to block others or draw lines in the sand over differences when there's so much that connects us to one another, and to try new things over the familiar and the comfortable. And finally, I know if we continue to listen, provide, and grow our community, we will get to the other side with greatness, strength, and everlasting joy. So, class of 2014 of Jefferson Academy, here is to our community, here is to our class of 2014, and here's to the next 10 years. Thank you very much, everyone.
Walk the hall side by side, shooting big eyes open wide, laughter echoing through the years. Now it's time to face our fears. Caps in the air, moments fly. Time goes on, but we'll never say goodbye. In every step, in every heart, we stay together though we're apart. Don't you forget about me. The class of 14 will forever free. And the memories that we keep will live on in the stories we speak. Don't you forget where we've been, all the highs, the places we've seen. Carry each other through time. Together we shine, yeah, we'll always shine. We wrote our names in every day, in every game, in every play. Now we move into the unknown, but this school is forever our home. The lessons we learned, the bonds we made, never fading, they'll never fade. In the rhythm of this life we chase, our hearts will always find this place. Don't you forget about me. The class of 14, we're forever free. And the memories that we keep will live on in the stories we speak. Don't you forget where we've been, all the highs, the places we've seen. Carry each other through time. Together we shine, yeah, we'll always shine. When the years roll by and we're far away, we'll look back on this yesterday. In the moments where we found our voice, in the moments where we made our choice. Don't you forget about me. The class of 14 will always be a part of something strong and true. And we know you remember too. Don't you forget what we've done. We're more than just a past, we're one in the memories we keep inside. Class of 14 never hide.
All right, here's how to celebrate. For us.